Alright, this is chapter 49 of The Night Singer. 49. As Eric watched the drizzle through the window, he again found himself wondering what his family was doing. It was almost 11:30, so they had probably arrived at the castle. Maybe they had just left the car and were running over the drawbridge toward the defensive walls. A sudden longing to experience another Indian monsoon welled up in him. The dry grayness exploding into color, children splashing in puddles, people laughing. "Why are you smiling?" asked Hannah. Eric didn't think he would be able to explain. "My family's visiting Kelmar Castle today," he said, "and Surprise is stressing about the weather. She thinks her parents are going to freeze." Hannah got up and closed the window. They were sitting at the table in their office, waiting for Ove and Daniel. The morning meeting was the only time they ever booked a proper meeting room. Eric had called Ove after speaking to Goran Olander, and Ove had suggested they have a quick debrief. The forensics IT specialist had seemingly managed to extract more information from Joel's computer and telephone. Supriya wanted them to visit Mumbai next year, possibly even traveling up to Jaipur so that Nyla wouldn't forget it. Eric didn't want his daughter to forget either. He wanted her to add new experiences but he found it difficult to put the sense of conflict that provoked in him into words. He simply didn't think they should be flying. Hannah had withdrawn into surly silence, and Eric couldn't understand why. Perhaps she thought it was pushy of him to have invited her over for dinner. They had only been working together for 4 days after all, but he had invited people over in less time than that before. Just last year, for example, he had run into a couple of lost Indian tourists outside the cathedral, and when he heard that they were speaking Marathi, he had gone over to say hello. He quickly ran out of Marathi phrases and switched over to English, but they had ended up going home with him all the same, and they had all enjoyed a pleasant evening together. "Back to square one," said Hannah. "Come on, that's unnecessarily pessimistic. At least we know it wasn't him this time." "Do we?" "Yeah," said Eric. "Why would someone like Goran Olander lie for Axel Stanston?" "Now you're being unnecessarily naive." Hannah looked away, almost as though she were ashamed of her words, but she did have a point. Their work largely revolved around uncovering lies, but there was nothing to suggest that Olander was lying. "We need to talk to Fanny again," she said. "Yeah, we'll head over to Oland after the meeting." Daniel came into the room with a laptop, Ove just behind him. "Ah, good, you're both here," said Ove. "Have either of you come across the name Marcus Johansson?" "No," said Eric. "Why?" "Joel was chatting with someone by that name on the LGBTQ forum. The chat itself doesn't seem to contain much of note. Joel was torn about his sexuality and who he was, and Marcus gave him support. It was the age difference that caught the analyst's eye during the initial check. Marcus mentions that he is a son around Joel's age, so he must be at least twice as old as Joel. They also arranged to meet." "Do we know who he is?" asked Eric. "I'm working on it," said Daniel. "There are around 10 Marcus Johanssons in the Kalmar area." "Are any of them around 40? asked Hannah. Daniel tapped away on the keyboard. "There's one living in Oxhogan who's 43. He's married but separated and has a son who attends Katrinlund High School in Gothenburg." "Do you have a picture?" "Hold on." A few minutes later, Daniel brought up a photograph for them. The man in the image had light brown hair and could easily be the man Petrie had described. He's a store manager at Tekmik Nagaset in the Griffin Shopping Center. That was just over the road from the station. Eric dialed the number for Teknik Magnesect and was informed by the woman who answered that Marcus Johansson wasn't working today. "I think we should go over and talk to him," said Hannah. "Prioritize finding Fanny Broberg," said Ove. "When I called the prosecutor about Axel, I was told that we can do a search of her home." It was obvious Hannah didn't like his decision, and Ove noticed. "She assaulted Joel that night," he continued. "They live close to each other, and it's highly likely that she caught up with him on her way home." "I'm not saying we shouldn't talk to her," said Hannah, "but isn't a search of her house a bit much? Considering where Joel was found, it feels more likely that someone else picked him up." "We can swing by Marcus Johansson's place on our way to Oland," Eric suggested. "We'll only lose 15 minutes or so." Ove turned to Daniel as though looking for backup, but Daniel kept quiet. "Fine," he said. "Go and chat with Marcus Johansson, but I want Daniel to follow the patrol car out to Fanny Broburn's place, and if she's there, I want them to hold her until you arrive." The last day. The rumbling of the engine seems to make the bus shelter tremble. Joel's head is pounding, every sound unnaturally loud. He holds his breath and closes his eyes, not because he thinks it will be enough to make him invisible, but because he can't bear seeing. He focuses on the cold, hard bench beneath him, rather than the darkness beyond, the churchyard and its dead. The rumbling stops suddenly. Joel opens his eyes and finds himself staring straight into the moped's headlight. He doesn't look away. Through the glare, he can just about make out Fanny's face. His heart is racing so fast he feels queasy, and he makes a real effort not to show it. He doesn't want to provoke her into beating him again. In the end, he can't do it anymore. If he wants to avoid bawling, he'll have to do something. Slowly, he rises to his feet. Pain shoots through his body, making him gasp. He hears Fanny snort mockingly, but Joel turns away from the light and begins walking along the road. Fanny drives behind him at a crawl, and Joel feels grateful that the sound of the engine is drowning out his thundering heart. Why isn't she saying anything? Why isn't she doing anything? Probably because she knows how terrified he already is. Joel comes close to asking about Lena, simply to make Fanny talk. He still can't quite take in what Lena has done. For a while, he's definitely had feelings for her. There is something bright and simple about her that he finds himself drawn to, probably because he doesn't have those qualities himself. He tried to explain it to Nadine once, that he and Nadine are too dark for each other, that's why they can't have that kind of relationship. Maybe he should give Nadine a chance after all. Lena isn't the person he thought she was, but he is really fucking sick of relationships right now, of not knowing who he is. Tina. Her name crosses Joel's mind, but he doesn't want to stay there. It's too painful. The moped skids on the gravel, and Joel almost cries out, but manages to bite his tongue in time. He regrets not telling Nadine about Fanny, but he was worried she would do something stupid, as though things could be any worse than this. He doesn't want to die. Joel is halfway home, and in order to convince himself that he will actually make it, his thoughts turn to what he is going to do once he gets back. He'll pop a couple of painkillers. His body is hurting all over, but he is pretty sure he will be able to sleep. He has never been this exhausted before. Snegaton, where Fanny needs to turn off, is close now. The moped illuminates the road for Joel, and he stares at the small black flies dancing in its beam, repeating the thought like a mantra, that she will have to turn off soon. 5 meters to go, then 4, 3. The engine revs like a predator poised to pounce.